Greetings. My name is Benjamin Garrett. If you have stumbled upon my channels, Instagram, YouTube, you'll have noticed that I have started posting a lot more short reels, examples of me playing. And I thought it would be smart of me to just introduce myself and give you my story, who I am, why maybe I have something to offer in this sphere of the internet where probably it's saturated with tons of content. So basically, this is my story. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple. I've actually got a timer going on for about 8 minutes to see if it can keep me fast and focused. But who is Benjamin Garrett? Well, I come from a family of musicians. I started on the trumpet in like sixth grade, switched to the horn in middle of seventh, and have never looked back. From that moment on, as soon as I picked up the horn at that point, I fell in love with it, and I've been on a mission to be the best horn player I can. And the truth is, right up front, when I first started, the horn was relatively easy. Or I should say it another way, I didn't overthink it. But like probably many, many people on their horn journey, I ran into some adversity. I was born in Texas, moved to the Salem, Oregon area when I was 17. And honestly, that move was the first real challenge I ran into as a horn player. My eighth, ninth, and even beginning of my 10th grade year, I was on a trajectory to be an amazing horn player. I was playing well. In ninth grade, I was headed towards making All-State in Texas, which was a big deal. I didn't quite make it, and then my sophomore year, I got second alternate in my thing, so that meant I was 2 seats away from making All-State as a sophomore, and then I moved to Oregon. Now, the reason this is important to the story is because Oregon is where I got well-meaning teachers, well-meaning music educators saying things that upon reflection, upon being able to look back now as an adult and a reflective person, someone who's constantly analyzing, I could see that they were trying to help me, but they were basically giving the wrong information. So, to be more concise, my high school journey, once I moved to Oregon, kind of went downhill in my playing. Now, here's the thing. When I looked around, I was still a great horn player for that level, but the analytical brain that I have kept saying, you're not where you think you should be. But anyway, I continued on, loved playing the horn, kept persevering despite frustration, and it was very up and down. And so if you can relate to this point, what I can say is I persevered. I have now been playing the horn over 30 years. I've been teaching it for 20, playing it professionally, I would say around 15 years. But one of the things that we all are going to go through in a journey in life is to find our place in the world, who we are, what we offer, what our strengths and weaknesses are. Now, I have a constant desire to be competent at the horn, but obviously we look at all these people that are on making content and it's just, we're in awe of a lot of it. And earlier, like I'd say 10 years ago, I still was in awe of it. Now I've reached a point through a journey of just constant, I like to say consistent effort over time equals success, but also the idea of process over product. I have been trying to figure out the right process. And it's taken me a long time. My undergrad was at University of Oregon. Again, I was a good undergrad horn player. I majored in horn performance, but still, it's like the back of my mind knew that I wasn't where I envisioned or kind of knew where the standard was at the highest level, like playing in Chicago Symphony, that type of standard. And I was always aiming for that standard. So anyway, after finished my undergrad, I was kind of like didn't take a break, but I didn't go straight into my master's. And basically, this is where the journey starts to meander. It took a couple years where I just worked and practiced. Then I decided, through a couple experiences, that I really thought I'd be a good teacher. I enjoyed teaching. I taught horn lessons and stuff. And so I went back and got my master's in the Oregon area, Portland State to be specific, and I got my master's in music education. And then I started teaching, and I was about 28 at the time, and I taught for 15 years at all levels. I taught at the big, what we call 6A schools in Oregon, which are the largest schools where I did everything from marching band to jazz band to everything. And it was at a large school, but kind of a poorer school, which meant that I really had to do everything. And I did that for 5 years, kind of burned me out. My bands were successful. They grew, they got better. But it was just too much. I ended up at that point, I had a kid. And a lot of things just said, it's the work-life balance was was out of whack. And I still try to maintain my practicing as best I could to to play, but it was hard. It was hard. It was a lot of work. And then I transitioned to a smaller school, which is in Oregon. We call them 3A schools. You could just think of it a rural school, where I was the band director at both the junior high and the high school. And I did that for 10 years until me and the education system started to have our own disagreements. But that is a totally another story, and that's not relevant to my story as a horn player. But again, the whole time I've been trying to maintain my playing professionally, teaching and stuff, and I've had very successful students in Oregon. I've taught at all levels, including some smaller colleges around the area, from beginners. And through this journey, I had also been creating things, creating sequenced curriculum, creating resources. I'm a big believer in process over product. I have a lot of tools, a lot like practice tools in my toolbox. Everything from buzzing tracks that you can buzz along to concepts of how to make the high range easier, the low range, everything, just how to set students up. And so basically, over the 15 years that I taught, I also was, like I said, creating resources. Then COVID hit, and COVID became kind of the catalyst to start even going deeper. It was a blessing for me. I actually taught both band and horn playing better than I'd ever taught, mainly because by going online, it forced me to be able to teach with process in mind, right? I had to model process. And then during that time, I created a website and created a membership area. And I compiled everything I created, including creating more things, from arrangements of hymns to patriotic music to Christmas music to original compositions to compiling all these resources to designing and implementing a curriculum from literally the first note all the way to if you want to be a professional. Like, I have resources for excerpts and resources for the solo rep of horn, including piano backing tracks. Now, I'm sharing all this to say, like, you're probably asking yourself, like, why should I listen to this guy? I haven't won a major orchestra gig, but the reality is my journey in life went a different path. So, like, at a certain point, 15-ish years ago, 18 really, if you want to get specific, I decided that education was more my background. But all this is to say this: I have 20 years of teaching and playing experience, 30 years of just playing the horn, and lots of analyzation and digging down as like how to make this horn work easier. And I really think I've unlocked a lot of the secrets. And so, again, if you've kept your attention for 8-ish minutes, basically I'm here to say that I'm going to continue to make content, continue to try to put things out there, but everything that I'm preaching and talking about can be found at my website, which is Willamette Valley Horn Academy, which is wvhornacademy.com. And if you find anything that I've said, or you've gone down my content and you think that there's some value in it, just know that I have resources that can aid at every level of playing. If you're a music educator, if you're a professional horn player, and you just want to have access to more resources for your students, I would highly encourage you to check out the Willamette Valley Horn Academy, or just enjoy my content. This is part of the avenues I'm trying to go down. So with that said, I bid you adieu. Thank you for listening. Happy practicing for you.